In Australia, we have an ageing workforce, and it is predicted there will be a skills shortage in the future. It's time to rethink the way we recruit people, break down the barriers and pave the way for new opportunities. 4 in 10 Australians aged 18 years and over report having a disability or long-term health condition. Finding employment is something many West Australians take for granted. For people with disability, finding, securing and retaining employment can be challenging. This video introduces 4 successfully employed people with disability who openly share their experiences and advice for those involved in recruitment.
My name's Samantha Jenkinson. I'm a counsellor here at the City of Stirling. I also work as the Executive Director at People with Disabilities WA, which is the peak advocacy organisation here in WA.
I'm from Mandurah, so I've lived in Mandurah all my life. I broke my neck when I was 16, jumping off the old Mandurah Bridge. So I spent my entire life living, working from basically Mandurah. Got 4 brothers, mum and dad, big family.
I am 63. I have 4 grown-up children and 6.5 grandchildren. I've worked since I was 15. I was a single parent most of the time. That's about all.
My name's Monique and I'm 24 years old. I grew up in Perth. I was born here. I've lived here my whole life. I've been working at the City of Stirling now for 4 years. The other very important thing about me is the fact that I have mental health issues. I have lived with depression and anxiety most of my life, but that's just a side fact really.
The principles for employment or recruitment of volunteers are the same for people with disability as those without disability. Common misconceptions and benefits of employment of people with disability. A person with disability won't be able to do the job. People with disability bring a range of skills, talents and abilities to the workplace. They work in all sorts of jobs and hold a range of tertiary and trade qualifications. People with disability have a clear understanding of their abilities and are unlikely to apply for jobs they can't do.
A lot of times people sort of put you into a box of what they think you can do. Oh, you're in a wheelchair, you'd be really good at doing call centre work because you don't have to get up and go about. But in reality, people's abilities are extremely wide. And so for me, having worked as a case manager, I did outreach work, going out to people where they were living and in their homes. And that was something which my employer knew I had the ability to do. It was just about finding the right supports to make it happen.
Adjustments to the workplace can be expensive. Simple and inexpensive adjustments are often all that is needed to help people with disability in the workplace. Assistance with the costs of making workplace adjustments is available through the Australian government.
Often employers don't realise the schemes, things like modifications, funding and that stuff that's available. So I always make sure that, as a bit of a tool in my armoury, I guess, when I go for an interview or that type of thing, I always share that information with the employer to say, don't stress about, if there's no ramp at the back door or something like that, there is funding out there for us to get that fixed.
As part of the workplace modifications, I got drag and dictate software so that I can do all of my emails and documents just through a headset and straight onto the computer, so it's going from voice to text. I can actually send emails out quicker than my work colleagues can.
It's difficult to interact with a person with a disability. Use respect as your guide and treat all people how you would like to be treated.
It's a bit, I think it's funny how people are scared of interacting with people with disabilities. I understand that it's confrontational, but we're also just people like anyone else. And you say, hi, nice to meet you, just like you would to anybody else.
Don't be afraid to speak to me about things. I'm not precious, but those conversations are pretty important.
Job design. When considering your position description, what are the inherent requirements of the job? Can the job be done in another way? Consider including a diversity statement to encourage a wider pool of applicants. For example, this organization embraces diversity and encourages applications from people with disability. There is no legal obligation for someone to disclose disability unless it affects their ability to do the job or there is a risk to workplace safety.
I always tick no, that I don't have a disability on those forms because I don't have something that will impact my ability to do the job. I'm confident with that. And then in my experience, whenever I've had an interview and those types of things, I've just laid the disability stuff out on the table and really tried to communicate as well as I can. What I can do, what I can't do, and how there's solutions to that.
Being flexible about work arrangements can help your organizations to attract and retain employees, including people with disability. Sometimes a simple adjustment or a little flexibility can be all that is needed for a person with a disability to get the job done.
Flexibility in a management is key. It's number one, I think. You never know what's going to happen day to day. For someone with a disability or mental health issue, yes, it might be waking up in the morning and having a terrible panic attack and having really bad anxiety and not being able to come into work on time. For someone else, it might be waking up and finding out that their kid's sick and they have to come to work. It's something across the board. It's not something that happens to just people with disability. It happens to everyone.
Inclusion. It's important that your workplace has a positive and inclusive culture so that everyone has a sense of belonging.
For me, it's actually really difficult to carry a cup of tea from the kitchen back to my desk. It's really hard to do. And so the places where I've worked where I've felt really welcomed and where I think as a team we've worked well together is where the other person just automatically knows to go, oh, I'm going to get a cup of tea, do you want one too? So that ability to sort of not feel like people have to ask for everything that they might need help with, because it is just those little things which can make the big difference, and it's really hard to ask for help all the time. But if you can notice things like, well, actually, maybe we just need to put the paper for the photocopier down lower where everybody can easily reach it. Maybe we'd just ask if Sam needs a cup of tea. And those are the things that make a difference to the whole team environment, I think.
Employing people with disability contributes to the organization's overall diversity. Studies have shown that employees with disability are reliable, productive, and affordable. Smart employers recruit and welcome talent with disability.
I would not have been able to get to where I am now if I didn't have my job. And I've seen it with other people as well, it gives them a purpose in life and they're going to do the best they can for you because you have helped them so much.
I see things from a different viewpoint because of the experiences that I have as a person with a disability. I literally see the world differently because I'm sitting at a different level to people. But that actually means that I'm looking at the world from a different perspective. I think it adds value and can be an asset.
Just embrace it, I guess, is my best bit of advice.
Really look at the person and let them prove themselves. It's very easy for people to judge people on what they look like, but yeah, give them a chance.
For more information, visit the City of Stirling's website, www.stirling.wa.gov.au.